A lot of men wonder why their relationships feel like they're constantly breaking down. Too many fights, not enough intimacy, the spark slowly disappears. And most guys blame the same things. They blame the woman, they blame bad luck, they blame the situation. But there's one habit that's quietly destroying relationships. And most men never even realize it's happening. I know this because for almost 10 years, my mind was completely hijacked. The way I saw women, the way I saw love, the way I saw intimacy, all of it had been completely wired in the wrong direction. Let me explain. Pornography slowly trains your brain to stop seeing women as partners and start seeing them as hits of dopamine. You stop seeing relationships as bonding and start seeing them as fantasy. And when that happens, everything about how you show up in a relationship begins to change. I've seen this pattern over and over and over again, not just in my own life, but with the men that I've actually helped. They tell me the same things. Their libido feels off. They struggle to perform with their partner. The intimacy feels different. They argue more. And eventually, they start asking the same question. What's wrong with my relationship? But when we dig deeper, it has nothing to do with the relationship. Almost all of it leads back to this one thing: excessive use of pornography. So in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 ways that pornography quietly destroys your relationship. And at the end, I'm going to show you the one shift that helped me and many of my clients finally break free. Because once you understand this, you're going to start seeing things very differently. Let's start with the first way that porn damages relationships. And you probably felt this one before. You stop feeling like yourself. There's a reason for that. When a man's self-worth drops internally, it changes how he shows up everywhere. I've had countless clients tell me the same thing. They feel less of a man. Their confidence drops. And every time they fall back into the pattern, it's like something inside of them gets chipped away each and every single time, little by little. Their confidence fades, your self-respect fades, and eventually it starts showing up in ways that you never even notice. Your posture slightly shifts. Your eye contact is off. Your energy is different. Even if you don't say a word, people can feel it, and your partner can feel it too. And when that internal confidence disappears, something else disappears with it. Your leadership. Instead of being that steady guy, you start reacting. You start flailing. Instead of being grounded, you feel uncertain. And you slowly stop being the rock that people can depend on. And here's where it gets worse. Because the more often that this habit repeats itself, the more shame begins to build. And that shame creates secrecy. You start to feel like you're hiding something. Your eyes are going to start being shifty. Your chest isn't going to be held up the same way. You're going to be like a dog walking with its tail in between its legs. And that internal feeling changes how you handle your life and internal problems too. Instead of confronting issues in your relationship, you escape. Instead of solving problems, you distract yourself. And the escape that you always are going to run to is pornography. And that leads us to the second way that pornography damages relationships. People start sensing something is off. Not consciously, but subconsciously. Let me explain. If I dropped you in front of a busy airport right now, and I told you to point out the person with the most confidence in the room, you would probably find them in 30 seconds or less. I guarantee it. You don't know why, but you can feel it. Now imagine I dropped you off in the airport and I asked you to point out the person with the lowest self-confidence. The one that looks like he doesn't have his shit together. The person that looks scattered or uncertain. You could probably find that person just as quickly. We pick up on signals constantly. And when pornography starts hijacking your brain, you change. Your presence change. You become less of you, less focused, less invested in your relationships. Because somewhere in the back of your mind, there's always an escape. There's always an easier option. Because porn requires zero effort, zero emotional investment, zero patience. And when that becomes your fallback, you slowly stop putting the same energy into your relationships. You stop going above and beyond. You stop being fully present. And over time, connection fades. Now ask yourself something honestly. Would you want a partner who feels distant, disconnected, emotionally unavailable? Because that's exactly what you're doing to them. And this leads to the third and most damaging way that pornography affects relationships. It rewires your brain. Every single time that you go back to pornography, your brain learns something. It learns to respond to pixels instead of people. And if that pattern repeats enough times, real intimacy starts to feel weaker. Let me explain this in a simple way. Imagine a kid crying for candy. Now imagine you give him broccoli. Now the broccoli might be healthy, but compared to candy, it doesn't stand a chance. Porn does the same thing to your brain. It floods you with novelty. It floods you with extreme stimulation and instant reward. But relationships, healthy relationships, are the exact opposite. They require patience. They require emotional connection. They require time and energy. And when your brain is wired for easy, extreme stimulation, real intimacy can start to feel underwhelming. That's when men start noticing things like weaker erections with their partner, finishing faster, or sometimes struggling to perform at all. But in front of a screen, everything works perfectly. And this is becoming more and more common than ever. If you can get hard in front of a screen, but not as hard in front of your partner, something is off. Because today, porn is one click away. Unlimited novelty, unlimited stimulation, new videos, all of it is one click away. And over time, the brain starts chasing that instead of connection. Now ask yourself something honestly. If nothing changes, what does your future look like? Relationships that slowly feel empty? Traction that fades over time? Connection that disappears? All of that because your brain was trained to chase stimulation instead of building something real. But the real question becomes, how do you actually break free from this? So let me give you one idea that sounds simple, but if you actually do it, it changes everything. Imagine someone trying to quit eating candy, but they have a drawer full of candy in their kitchen. They work at a chocolate factory all day, and every morning they stop by a gas station that's filled with sweets. How likely are they to quit? Almost zero, because their environment is constantly pulling them back into the habit. Now ask yourself one thing. Why do you think quitting porn would be any different? If everything in your environment stays the same, and if everything looks the same as when you were addicted, if the apps are still there, if the routines are still there, if the same patterns are still there, your brain will keep walking the same path no matter how bad you want to quit. That's why the most powerful step is changing your environment. Move things around in your house. Rearrange the apps on your phone. Change the way that your room looks. Take a different route to work. Make your life look different. Because when your environment changes, so do your patterns. And that's when your patterns can actually break and your mind can wake up. Now, you're not running on autopilot anymore. You're actually making decisions again. And that's when real change begins. And if you're serious about breaking free from this habit and rebuilding the way that your brain sees relationships, there's a link below and there's a link in my bio where you and I could talk one-on-one and we could understand why you keep going back to pornography and then create a plan to help you break free. Go ahead and click that link down below. And other than that, I'll see you next time. See you guys.